All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Mouse Minds. We are here live, as always, on Tuesday nights, recording our show live for you on YouTube. And I am joined here by my co host, Michael. And Lisa should be joining us soon um, on the show here. So we'll see if she joins us here. But we are here recording live on uh, on that platform, iTunes, Spotify, wherever that may be. We're on all those major platforms. Now, guys, I wanted to talk this week. I guess I didn't tell Michael the topic already, but you can see the description. I don't know. I don't know if you can. But I wanted to talk this week because I had a couple of interesting things this week. Number one, we had Flower and Garden start this week, which I got to go to this past Friday and sample some of the food there. And I was pleasantly surprised this year in the amount of vegetarian and vegan options that they have at the festival. I believe someone counted and there's 15 items, which is like the most we've ever had at a festival before, which is insane. So we have to talk about that. And number two, I wanted to dive in, especially with you, Michael, as being a local like myself, getting reservations for Disney restaurants, because I will tell you guys a story. So if you don't already know, 1900 Park Fair at the Grand Floridian is reopening April 10th of next month. I believe it's a Wednesday. So I wanted to head to that restaurant and eat at that restaurant. And the reservations for that restaurant opened up today. They opened up today, March 5th, today. And I was very excited. I got up early. Well, I get up early anyways for work, but I was up early and I was ready to go and make a reservation. Now, typically, reservations start at 6 a.m. That's kind of when they open up the window where you can start making reservations. I got on the system at 7 o'clock, and almost all reservations for the next 60 days were gone. I mean, the only days that were available were, I think, like a Wednesday, like a random Wednesday at the beginning of next month, early April. There were some spots there, but that was it. There was no weekends. There was no Saturday or Sunday. There was no Fridays. There was absolutely nothing. And I have been trying all day to get a reservation. And I posted in other groups to see if people can get reservations. And the only thing they can come up with is the fact that there's reservations on a random Wednesday in the beginning of April. And I can only book out to, as a pass holder, I can only book out 60 days, which hotel guests, I believe, can book out till 90 days. I still think that's the rule for hotel guests. So they can book out further than me. So I have to admit, I'm feeling kind of cheated in the sense that I want to go to the restaurant, but I can't go to the restaurant. The resort guests are getting priority over me. I'm spending the same amount as a resort guest would at the restaurant. I'm not asking for any discount. I mean, if they want to give me a pass or discount, fine. But I'm still going to the restaurant paying the Disney price, but I can't get a reservation. And that kind of sparked this whole thing. Well, that and the Flower and Garden sparked this whole thing with food for me, because I was like, man, it's we were talking before last week about planning a day at the parks and figuring out being able to be spontaneous and go to the parks last minute. And with this, I can't even plan to go, and it really kind of sours the experience for me. I mean, I'm it. I wouldn't be as upset if I didn't get in at 7. I didn't think in an hour's time everything would be gone, but people are waiting. you can see it in groups. People wait. Michael, I'm sure you've seen this. People wait to the times, and they set their watches. They're planning to go, and they set their watches to when they can book these reservations, and will wait right, and will get on right in that 6 a.m. time slot and steal all the reservations.
We have to also remember that a lot of people, at least the ones that have the trip booked, if Disney
Mm-hmm.
is catering to families with young children and
Mm-hmm.
possibly young daughters, they're the ones who are going to jump on these reservations. And anybody who
Mm-hmm.
checked out, this week or last week, they couldn't go. So the folks that are booked for right now are lucky.
Yeah.
Not everybody who's booking is in the know. They
Yeah.
might not be following these things. And not everybody's so
Mm-hmm.
Disney obsessed that they track days and times or release dates. They're just showing up on their vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So is it folks that are booked, like you said? I don't know how. I've never eaten there. I don't know how large the restaurant is. Um, I tried
It's
booking a large party at Vero Beach for my birthday a few weekends ago, and based on the size of the restaurant, a party of 10 could only book so at certain hours. So
yeah.
is it hard to get because it's limited seating? I've never been.
No, it's definitely not that because it's a fairly large space because it is character dining, so that does bring in the crowds, and it is a very very large restaurant. I would say, have you ever been to the Grand Floridian Cafe?
No, I don't think I've ever
Okay,
eaten at the
well,
Grand Floridian.
I would so but you've been inside the resort, right?
Yes.
So I would honestly say the 1900 Park Fair is probably the size of the lobby, like the big lobby open area, like maybe, yeah, maybe a hair bit smaller than that big lobby there, the big courtyard there. And it's just full of tables, and they have a buffet. It's a buffet restaurant, and and that's it. So it is, yeah, that is what it is. So it is a buffet, character buffet restaurant. You come as you go, you know, go up and get your food, and of course the parade of characters come to your table. But yeah, that is what it is, and it's just, it, I mean, I get that it just reopened and it hasn't been open since the pandemic, and people are very excited. And I've heard before the pandemic, the vegetarian options were fantastic there. So who knows what it'll be like now? I mean, the other thing you have to look at too is with these reservations, there was no menu, there was no price, there was nothing. Usually, when you book a when you have a restaurant at Disney, there's a menu listed, even if it's a buffet. They give you kind of a gist of what's going to be on the buffet, and then there's a price. People are booking this blindly. I was ready to book it blindly. I didn't know what it was going to cost me. I mean, they could jack the price up. This could be an opportunity for them to raise the price on character meals and really, quadruple the price or something. But I just wanted to experience that restaurant. I hadn't been there in so long, and I don't have the option to, and I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound ungrateful for living where I do, but at the same time, I feel like I do get a little cheated sometimes because I don't have the same access as a resort guest does on certain things. Like if it's like an early entry into the park, or like, you know, they allow you to, uh, stay extra at night or something like that. Okay, I get that. That doesn't bother me. But when it's, something where I'm going to spend money, like, I'm like, hello, like, I think we should have the same with dining reservations. I think we should have the same access as someone as a resort guest does. It's not, I mean, me not being able to book a dining reservation is not going to push me to spend a night at the Grand Floridian just so I can book a dining reservation, or get a resort, or stay at one of the resorts just so I can get a dining reservation. That's not going to happen. But it just thinks, because I mean I eat at the Disney restaurants all the time. It's just, I don't know. I just feel it's not. I don't want to say it's not fair. I just feel like it's not right on their part, because there are a lot of people that they cut out that want to eat at these restaurants and just can't. Because if they're booking 90 days out, by the time it gets to my turn to book, then I can't book.
And see, this one's a little different from your typical reservations because any restaurant that's been open, it's 90 days out from your date of arrival. So yesterday, anyone that is staying that whole week, it's not the date of it's the date you're checking in. So if people
That's true.
already have this week booked and you wanted to go on Thursday, but somebody already has it booked because they were able to book it yesterday, um, that's always the difference. It's like people wake up on their 60-day and go, "Why is everything booked?" Because people already grabbed them yesterday. So it's
Yep.
not even a matter of that. Then you have your difference of local versus Florida resident. The
Yeah.
people that live 3.5 hours away, they're going to do more dining than you or I would because usually I do. I eat before I head to the park. I have my dinner, then I
That's
drive
true.
up.
That's true.
So I think they're catering to people who are at the resort, probably don't have a car, have to dine somewhere. Right? When I used to stay, I would take a one-bedroom DVC, and I would prepare a lot of my meals in my room, at least breakfast.
Yeah, of course.
So I mean, everyone else has to stumble down, whether you're going to a food court or to a quick service, or you're going to sit down for a nice buffet or a character meal.
Hmm.
I think that's where they're getting their money. So if I can get, from somebody paying $400 a night for a resort, maybe that's part of the perk. Doesn't help you or I.
No, I mean, I get that it makes it feel more exclusive to be a resort guest if you have that option available to you. I mean, I get where it can kind of, if you're really a big Disney fan and want to eat at these restaurants, if you're traveling here, it's going to lock you into that reservation. That's a big deal. But I don't think it's, I don't think it's that. I think if they allowed pass holders to have the same thing, or, I mean, even like maybe not one day park ticket guests that are staying off property or something, but like pass holders, for example, if they allowed pass holders to have that same access, I don't think that it would be that big of a. They would see, or people would be that up in arms that pass holders have the same rights as a resort guest. I honestly think that as a pass holder, we should have similar rights as a guest staying on property, because we do travel there all the time. We do go a lot. We're not just a one day guest at the park. So, and even like someone who's 3 to 5 hours away, if they drive 3 hours, or let's say they drive 2 hours, if you drive 2 hours and you're probably going to eat at the parks, and what are you going to do? Because if you're just staying for the day and not getting a hotel, then you can't do that, and your day is shot. So now I have to go outside the parks to eat because I can't get the reservations that I want, and Disney's losing out on that money.
No, I agree. We should at least have more rights or more privileges than a family coming in, staying off property at who knows what. And I don't even mean like the Disney Springs area. I mean outside. They think a lot of them they treat the Disney Springs like a Disney resort. Folks staying
Hmm.
outside and just coming in. I know they can't stay later or can't get in earlier, but what is the difference between the pass holder and those guests?
And I can understand like a regular, like, just even if it's just a local that wants to eat at 1900 Park Fair, they don't have a pass holder, not a pass holder, sorry. Those type of guests, I can see like maybe giving them less preferred access, because it does give them an incentive to purchase a pass. Hey, you could have a 90-day booking window, and those people that are on the fence, that may be the thing that seals the deal for them and gets that extra revenue for Disney. But as far as I know, a regular, I mean, my booking window is the same as a regular person off the street.
Sure.
So I don't think it's any different. So that being said, like, how is that going to push anyone to get an annual pass when when, if you gave them extra perks like that, or even if they said, hey, look, I know they'd never do this because this isn't very logical, but even if they said, hey, we're going to block off uh, with the restaurant opened, and we're going to block off 4 hours on a Friday night for pass holders. It could be pass holder night, and you can only book it if you're a pass holder, but you have to book it by X amount of date. You have to book it by the 10th of next month, and then that may be a week before it that reservation is supposed to be, and they can use that extra time to fill in those spots with other reservations, whether it be hotel guests or whether it be people coming in, locals that don't have annual passes or whatever else. But give us a shot to be able to book these experiences, because I'll be 100% honest with you, the best restaurant right now for reservations at Disney, or one of the best, is Summer House on the Lake. And the reason why that is the best is because they don't use Disney's system to book reservations. They go through OpenTable.
Mm-hmm.
They're not on, as far as I know, they're not. I think they're still not on the system. Last time I checked, which was like a couple weeks ago, they're not on Disney's restaurant system. So it people can find OpenTable and get in there, but I mean, I can walk up to the restaurant. I can get a reservation as a walk up. There's so many options that I can do at this restaurant, and I kind of applaud them for not being on Disney's system. It's so, it caters to so much to one type of guest, and everyone else gets excluded, and it's just kind of sad.
I wonder if they have certain, and I don't know how it works, but do they have certain reservations set aside for this group or that group, or is it just all first come, first serve? Like I said, when I did Vero,
I don't know.
they're only on Open Table, and that's a Disney restaurant, Disney resort,
Hmm.
only Open Table. We had 10 people
Hmm.
joining us for my birthday, and
Hmm.
to get a reservation for 10, I could only do at 5 through like 5:45 or after 7:45. So that prime
Hmm.
seating for like 6 to 7:30 blocked out for large parties, because I guess they're trying to accommodate as many
Mm.
people as they can. But as
Yeah,
you said,
Philadelphia.
whether it's 10 of my family or two groups of 8 and another couple, you're still feeding 10 people. You're still cooking for 10
Yeah,
people. I
exactly.
think those tables would probably turn over faster than we did. That's for sure.
Hmm.
Even when we went to Boma a few weeks ago and friends came in from New Jersey, we held that table for a good 2 and 2.5 hours because we were catching up. Haven't seen them in years. So we
Yeah,
just
of
sat there. We
course.
were in the corner, and there was no rush, and nobody came by to say you got to get out. But yeah, we held the table. We had drinks. We ate. That's what you get for a buffet.
Hmm.
So who are they? Are they catering to groups? Do they say, okay, we're going to set aside X number of tables for pass holders every day, and sporadically across the time, spread them out. So if you do 3 tables per hour, or hour and a half or 2 hours for pass holders, and if nobody comes, it's not like you're going to miss the table. I know they try to do this, $20 if you miss your reservation, but if I book Oga's and don't show
ten
up,
dollars a $10 a head
yeah,
or
whatever it comes out
whatever it
to,
is.
you're still going to book it. If I miss my Oga's reservation,
Yeah,
somebody is going to take that table. There's never a shortage of people
yeah,
trying to get into these
that's
restaurants.
true.
So,
That's true. I 100% agree. Now I understand why Disney uses their own system. It makes a lot more fiscal sense, and it makes a lot more sense because they have control over everything. And with Walt Disney World as a whole, they want to have control of everything because Disney World itself is a land of metrics. They want to be tracking everything, crowd levels, what the dining levels are looking like. The thing about switching to the My Disney experience and the Disney app and everything else that they have is it gives them so much analytical data that they can analyze to see when things are going to be busy, to work with staffing, to do all these things to plan, and see potential revenue for the day. And so from a business standpoint, it's really good. And then of course with Open Table, I don't know what their deal looks like for with Disney, but for like Vero, for example, I ran a restaurant, so I know you have to pay Open Table a fee to use Open Table. That's how they make their money, because it's free for everyone else, but you pay a fee to Open Table as a restaurant to be able to use their management software, because they basically manage your whole restaurant. They'll not only promote you on Open Table, but they'll manage your tables and say, you have 4 reservations coming in at this time. Your restaurant should be full, so we're going to close down reservations for that time, so on and so forth. So it's a very good tool for managing how many people are in your restaurant, and you do pay. I mean, for a small restaurant, it's quite a lot of money per month to actually utilize Open Table. It's very expensive. I'm sure for Disney, it's like a drop in the bucket. I don't know what type of deal they have with Disney, um, but um, but it is very expensive for small restaurants. But I can see why they wouldn't want to use that, because they can keep track of things themselves and keep track of who's there and everything else and use their own thing. But in the same regards, like Open Table is just an open system that allows everybody to book, with no restrictions. They don't know if you're a resort guest. They don't know if you're a pass holder. They don't know what you are. So everybody has a fair shot at booking that restaurant. And I just, I mean, when it comes to dining reservations, like I kind of understand where they're coming from on giving hotel guests the priority. And I keep saying this, but I just don't see how it benefits them in the long run, because honestly, if they're if you have, let's say for example, you have a bunch of pass holders booking restaurants before the resort guests get to do it, and let's say those resort guests now have to eat elsewhere. Well, maybe that pushes them to restaurants that aren't as busy. Maybe that pushes them to those restaurants that usually do have open reservations that pass holders just refuse to, not refuse to go to. They're just like, I don't really want to go there. I'll just eat off site. It pushes them, because they're on site, they have nowhere else to go. It pushes them to go to those restaurants, and it fills those seats at those restaurants. So if anything, honestly, you could make a case for the fact that it would fill up all the restaurants at the parks, because now you're taking people that were normally going to go to these restaurants and moving them to other restaurants and getting them to try something different, because the other restaurant is full with people that it normally wouldn't be full with.
And so I think for a lot of
So,
us, it's going to be the case either way. Because if you have people that are on
mhm,
passes and they're going to walk in, well, I can't get this restaurant here, so I'll just go eat elsewhere. I might not do a sit down. I might just grab something on the go. But to my thinking, they already got the pass holders' money, and we're going to go back tomorrow or
yeah,
next week. But if you have a family
of
coming in
course.
first time, second time, third time, and they can't get reservations and they couldn't eat anywhere, now they're walking around going, oh my gosh, I can't eat. They're going to think twice maybe about coming back. You're going to go.
See,
If you're not complaining about
but
the price, it's just going to be, we couldn't eat. My daughter was hungry. We had a horrible time. We had to just,
I think though, I think regardless of what you do in that situation, I think that's gonna happen regardless,
yep.
because those families that are coming for the first time, they don't know how to pound the app in My Disney Experience to get a reservation for Chef Mickey's. They don't know how to make that happen. They don't know that you got to get up at 6 a.m. on the first day of your booking window. They probably don't even know what a booking window is for a restaurant reservation. So there is a learning curve, and I can tell you from experience, because I dealt with this a few weeks ago when I had family in town. There's an extreme learning curve when it comes to Disney, and when it's your first time, it's almost like you have to take a course on how to plan your trip, and it's a very good um, it's a very good marker or story for why you should use a travel agent, because a good Disney travel agent, most Disney travel agents that book specifically are focused mainly on Disney. will be able to do all of this for you because they've been in this situation before. But if you're not using a travel agent, if you're doing it on your own, if you're trying to plan this on your own, it's going to be very difficult for you to navigate all the systems and apps and things like that to plan your trip because you try to. I can see the person for the first time getting frustrated and not wanting to come back because they can't get a reservation at 1900 Park Fair. They heard great things about it. They're going to look, they try to go there, it's on their trip, and they can't get a reservation. And that would steer them away too. So it gets both sides.
I was going to say that's exactly who you were competing against this morning. All the travel
Yeah,
agents on top of everyone else who's trying to book a reservation.
exactly.
So
And it's just it's I I don't want to discourage travel agents because I think travel agents are fantastic. And I am friends with some amazing travel agents that work with Disney that I've worked with for years, and they're amazing people and they're very good at what they do. But you also, that's just something that you compete with when you book a stay at Disney. You compete with the travel agents and them being able to know how to do things, and you know you not having the upper hand. So my advice to anyone who is thinking about a Disney trip or taking a Disney trip is to go with a travel agent. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no added fee, and you get you know all the benefits of someone that knows what they're doing, because these Disney travel agents that are earmarked, they go to the parks just as much as us local pass holders do. Let's be real. They know what the good restaurants are. They know where you should go and not go. So they kind of control the market. So if you're a first timer, strongly consider, and you're gonna stay on Disney property, strongly consider going through a travel agent. I mean, there's no harm in just getting a quote or seeing what they can do for you, because they offer their services for free. They don't charge you to help you book reservations or plan your trip. That's something they do for free. And they will be the ones, getting up early to try to book those early reservations. Or they may have even earlier access because they're travel agents. Who knows? But that is something, yeah, that's a good point.
and when you do book your trip through a travel agent, be sure to tell them that Mousemind sent you.
Yeah, please do. And when they start contacting us saying that you're sending all this business our way, that'll be good.
That'd be wonderful. So,
That would be awesome.
but yeah, I think people don't realize that travel agents, and I guess there's a market for everything, that travel agents are free to use.
Hmm.
People don't want to pay the upcharge, they don't want to pay the commission. You're not paying the commission. The places that you book
Yeah,
with, for the most part, are the ones subsidizing them. So it's free to you. It
yeah,
might improve your trip. It'll take a lot off
yeah.
your mind so that you're not robbered up at 6 in the morning, hitting that website, trying to do it. You can sleep in and let somebody do it for you. But when you
Well,
really, really want
not only that too, travel agents are really good at finding the best deals.
it, mm-hmm.
I have a friend. I mean, like I said, I have multiple friends who are travel agents, and I have one friend specifically that I always go to when I want to book Disney, whether it's a one night stay at one of the resorts, or a 2 night stay, or a trip to California, or out of the country to another Disney park around the world. I use the travel agent myself personally. Um, Stacy Frost. I'll put her name out there if anyone's listening. Stacy Frost. I'd have to. But she is amazing, and she will find the deals for me. They're constantly staying up to date on the promo codes and things like that. So not only are you going to not pay more by booking a travel with a travel agent, you're going to save money by booking with a travel agent, because they're going to find you the best deals. And then on top of that, you're going to get that concierge service where you can not only have someone book everything for you, your flights, getting to the from the airport to the resort, your restaurant reservations, if you need Genie Plus, whatever you need, they're going to take care of all that for you. Dessert parties, whatever you want, they're going to take care of all that for you. not only are they going to do that for you, but they're gonna find you the best deal, and I mean, I don't know how it gets any better than that.
Yeah, makes sense. And it really has become, as we talked in the past couple of weeks, it's become so stressful and trying to
It
monitor
has.
everything and understand everything. And
Hmm.
you might not need to, and somebody else can do it for you as you start going, especially when you're first going, because you really don't know. So let the pros
Yeah,
take care of you.
and they can also guide you in kind of the ways to travel, things like that. I mean, we do have. I, I mean, I don't know how technically savvy a lot of people are that listen to the show, but if any of you use services like ChatGPT or Anthropic or Anthropic's Claude or Bard or any of the AI chatbots, we do have services out there. I mean, there's if you go on ChatGPT and look up attractions answers, you can use a chatbot that I made personally for people to ask it questions geared towards. You can go on there and ask it what the wait times are right now on Space Mountain. You can ask it when should I travel to Orlando? What's the best time based on historical data where it's not the busiest? You can ask it how to book a reservation with the. I mean, you can ask it anything about any theme park, any attraction, whatever, and it'll give you an answer to that. And we have these tools now to assist with that. But when it comes to uh, booking a reservation, booking all these things, a travel agent is just the way to go because they will always be there to find you the best deal and so on and so forth.
What I
So
still find
and
hilarious is that people still put any kind of credence at all in these old, outdated uh, charts. Oh,
yeah.
the crowd calendar that they made 5 years
Hmm.
ago that has all gone out the window since COVID. Uh,
Hmm.
there is no crowd calendar anymore. There's no slow time, unfortunately.
No, there really isn't. Even January used to be a slow month, but Disney found a way to fill that up. They did it a couple different ways. Number one is Festival of the Arts.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps it busy on the weekends. Number two is they always have the cheer competitions in January. So the parks are littered with cheerleaders for the cheer competitions. And number three is the marathon. They always have the Walt Disney World Marathon in January, which makes sense. It's not hot out, it's not sweltering heat. You don't want to run the heat, it's cold out. I get it, it makes sense, but it brings the crowd. So you have something going on that whole month where it used to be like the first 2 weeks of January, you could really get in and have no one at the parks, but that just doesn't happen anymore. They've found ways, and of course, Epcot is a consistent festival now. I mean, they don't take any breaks really between festivals, maybe a couple days or a week. But like what 2 weeks ago or a week ago, we had the Festival of the Arts, and now we're right into Flower and Garden.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Epcot doesn't waver when it comes to festivals. They just keep the party going because they know that people are going to go to the booths and really enjoy the food, and that's what they want all year round because they know that Epcot is. I mean, I personally feel the festivals meant a lot more when they were not all year long, but the crowd has spoken. The people want to be. They Epcot is more packed than it's ever been in its history, and it's because there's constantly festivals 100 all the time.
And it's mainly just, I mean, it's what they make of it because at the end of the day, it's all food. Every festival now is food. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
I could
true.
personally do without the arts festival. I'm not going to go drop $1,000 on a painting or $500 on a painting. Don't need it.
I
I'm not
I,
going to hang it up in my home. If they did away
I
with that, and plus it's
understand
only
that.
2 months. But like you said, it's
Yeah.
filling in the gap until Flower and Garden
Hmm.
because they had to do something in that downtime between Christmas and the end of February, beginning of March, outside of just extending Flower and Garden. So
Hmm.
they came up with something else, and it also gives local artists or national artists a chance to come out and promote their work and also promote Disney.
Yeah, you're right. And I I agree with you 100% on the Festival of the Arts. I'm not really going to go down there and drop. a lot of money on art. I honestly like it's. I like Festival of the Arts for the art demonstrations, the chalk art, and just how beautiful the park looks when they have Festival of the Arts because they really try to do it up and make it, you know, with all the artwork around and the different displays that they have where you can have your photo taken in classic artwork and things like that. I think that's amazing. But it's really about the food. All these festivals are about the food. I
Hmm.
mean, Flower and Garden. There was a time at Flower and Garden, and I don't think they do this anymore, where you could go and see like to do like free tutorials on planting. And I know someone who used to go every year, and they had this like planting class where they'd give you like some seeds and some soil and a planter, and it was free, and you would just grow your own roses or something. And every year it was something different that you would grow, and it would be sponsored by whatever the seed company is or something, and they would give you a little plant to take home, and you take it back to your house, and those are neat. I like that type of stuff, but they don't really do that anymore. It's really about the Flower and Garden Festival has turned into a rock concert, tons of topiaries, and food, and that's literally all it is. There's not that much. And well, they do have the butterfly garden. I think this year they have it. I think they still have it this year. I don't know if I saw it, but I'm pretty sure that. But still,
Yeah, I think
regardless,
I think it's every year.
they they don't really have anything in the way of like demonstrations on, unless I'm missing it and I just missed it completely. I haven't seen anything about demonstrations on, you know, gardening or things like that, and that used to be a big part of it. And I appreciate the food and I appreciate the theming that they have for that, but I like to see some gardening stuff in there too. But I mean, I can't complain too much. They have 15 vegetarian, well, actually, if you count vegetarian dishes, there's like 17 or 18 dishes. But vegan dishes, there's 15 total. So Disney really stepped their game up this year and went all out, for vegetarians, which it makes sense. I mean, it's a plant festival, so why not have a bunch of plant-based food?
And I remember, I think it was the last festival where, and they probably have done it at others, I just never noticed, that the booklet they gave you, I think the back page one time was to collect as many of the non-meat vegetarian dishes as you could. And if you bought the six of them,
Hmm.
you get your prize. But they were encouraging you to step away from meat and to try these other dishes.
Hmm.
So sure, and like you said, if for all these dishes, they know what people want. You know, they
Hmm.
wouldn't keep stepping up their game every year if there wasn't a market for it.
Exactly, exactly, and they know that, things are changing and people want more plant-based options. And Disney is kind of approaching it from a two-pronged approach. I've seen some dishes at like Food and Wine, for example. There was a ramen soup that had a chicken stock, but it had impossible sausage in it, which made absolutely no sense because you see this beautiful ramen and it has chicken broth in it and impossible sausage. That makes no sense. But with the Flower and Garden Festival, we see things like the Impossible Meatball, which is just an impossible meatball, kind of like a little panini. I wouldn't say panini sandwich, like a I don't know what you call like a snack wrap almost kind of deal. And that was one of the best meatballs I've ever had. And it wasn't like an Italian meatball. It was more so like a Moroccan style Mediterranean meatball. It had kind of that spice and flavor to it.
Hmm.
Um, and it was amazing. And then in the back, they're serving up the most amazing Jamaican beef patties that are just stuffed with impossible meat. And it's just, I mean, it was a little spicy. It did almost kill me because it was pretty spicy, but it was very tasty. And although I only got to try a few dishes, I know there's some other ones I want to try. There's a roasted honey cauliflower. There's some other. There's just a bunch of things. When I saw I have a friend, and that her husband is a chef who helps prepare all the dishes for Flower and Garden in the back kitchen, and they because basically the way it works is they prepare the stuff in the back kitchen and then they finish it at the booth. So the booth does minimal work. They maybe heat it up and then put on some, some garnish on top, and then serve it to you. So that way they can get it out quickly. And I had the list of the food items, or the pamphlet for the food items, like a week or two before the
Hmm.
festival actually started, and I was like reading through it, and I was counting all the dishes, and I was floored. But I have to say, I'm very proud of Disney for embracing the vegans and vegetarians, and really going all out. And the community, I can tell them, just from my perspective, what I've seen, the community is extremely excited about this. They are floored that he's doing this.
Sure. And then they know their market. They know who the people are coming in for that. Everyone's got
Mhm.
dietary restrictions.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've noticed after that issue at Disney Springs now, every restaurant I've gone to, and this was just a couple of Disney Springs, was it Eat? Went back to Eat, and over
Mhm.
at Earl of Sandwich, both places asked me, and any food allergies that we need to know about. And I think they're going to be a lot more cognizant of that going forward,
Mhm.
where they'll have to ask, before they serve people.
Yep.
And just knowing that, yeah, there are people that want to step away from the meat, whether you're giving it up for Lent, and this is another good time for that, or if
Mhm.
that's your lifestyle. Now, where was the
It,
beef patty? Do you remember where that was?
the beef patty was in the back, in between France and Morocco. So
Okay.
usually where they had the Brazil booth for food and wine, it was that same booth, but it was like called Caribbean something.
Oh, I'll be stopping there. All right then.
Yeah, the only thing I will warn you about with that one is, although it is a beef patty and you think that you could eat it with your hands, you cannot, because they smother it in what I think was like a sweet chili sauce, like
Mm-hmm.
a Thai sweet chili sauce, which was very good, but it left my hands very sticky. And I did not know that when I grabbed it, and I was scrambling to find a napkin because I had these very sticky hands covered in sauce. So I had to kind of knife and fork it. Also, it's humongous for what you pay for it. I think it's $5, and it was huge. I mean, like,
And
I
patties
had
aren't
that and the
usually served
meatball,
with
and
a
I was
dip.
pretty full.
That's very weird. That's not usually a dip item. That's just a.
No, it wasn't a dip. They
Oh, but
they
it was
they it
basted
was
in.
covered in it. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like basted, like they poured it on top. I
that's not
don't. I'm
usually how you
assuming that's
serve
how they.
those.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's how they. It's not. It's not usually how they're served. I mean, nor do you see any Jamaican patties with a Thai sweet chili sauce on them. And it's not
Right.
really a Jamaican thing, but it was very good. So I'm assuming it was their spin on it with the Impossible meat. But honestly, with Impossible meat, I have to do a double take a lot of times because I can't tell the difference. It just I can't tell. I use it for a lot of cooking because I honestly can't. Even the sausage, the Italian sausage, the actual meat itself tastes the same. And realistically, when it comes to Italian sausage, you really have, as long as you can get the seasoning right in the sausage and add the right seasoning in there to give it that flavor of Italian sausage, you can it can be very good at disguising itself as something vegetarian.
Nice. Well, good. I'm looking forward to getting up there this week and seeing what's going on. I always try to avoid the first week or the first weekend at least, uh,
Yeah,
just so it's not so crazy. But once people
I
have it
try
out of their
to
system,
I try to do that as well. That was not I you saw I posted on Facebook. That was not one of my brightest decisions because that parking lot was full all the way to the back of the parking lot. I've
yep.
not seen it that full since New Year's Eve. And every booth had a line. Um, I know because I waited in line for the cheese pasta at Italy. They had a quattro formaggio
Hmm.
uh, cheese pasta. It was over tortellini, I think. And I waited and waited and waited about maybe 20 minutes. And I got to the line and was told that they did not have that anymore. And then the
Hmm.
guy shouted to everyone, "Hey, we're out of this." So, um, but there was lines. So the one thing I will tell you about these festivals is, as we said earlier, with there being no slow times at the parks, that also means there's really no times where there's not lines for the foods and the booths, and the popular booths that people remember every year always have big lines, and you're gonna wait. And there's no Genie Plus or Fast Pass for this. You're just gonna have to wait. So include it in your trip.
And yet, even though with all these crazy lines and so many people waiting for the food, the attractions don't really enjoy that shorter wait time. So I don't know what's
No,
going on. It's got
they
to be pretty
just,
crowded.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure if I went on like a Tuesday afternoon or something, or Tuesday morning and went to the booths, it would probably be, right now, like if I went next Tuesday to a booth, it would probably be completely, there'd be no lines. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, that's just not an option.
I'm going to try to get there this week, and next time we talk, I'll let you know what we found. So thank you.
There we go. I
Appreciate the
like that.
tips.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's show. I appreciate you, Michael, for being here with us.
Mhm.
And next week we will get the whole gang together and come up with we'll get all of them on here and get that going for you guys. I appreciate everyone who likes and watches the show on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Disney and Beyond, so you can see this live. We are, of course, constantly evolving and getting better. And of course, every Friday at 5 p.m., you can find us on your favorite app, whether that be podcast app, whether that be Spotify, whatever that is. There's tons of apps out there. I can't name all of them off the top of my head, but you can find us. You'll subscribe to our podcast so you get that notification when we upload an episode. But yeah, we definitely thank you guys for joining Mouse Minds. And if Michael, did you have any closing thoughts?
Not at all. Looking forward to getting in there and trying some new dishes. So thank you.
Well, definitely try the meatball. It is amazing. But we will see you guys next week, and I hope all of you all get to try the amazing food at Flower and Garden. And if all of y'all could just take 5 minutes out of your day to send me some positive vibes, so I can get that 1900 Park Fair reservation, that would be great as well too. But that being said, guys, we are done for this week's episode of Masterminds. I thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your week. Bye
Okay.
now.
Bye, everyone.